You're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind that sits underneath everything. A heaviness that doesn't lift even on the good days. You've tried resting more, saying no more, doing less, and the weight doesn't change. Because the weight isn't yours. You're carrying feelings that were handed to you, responsibilities that were placed on your shoulders before you were tall enough to see over them, guilt for situations you didn't create, anxiety about outcomes that aren't yours to control. And the heaviness you feel isn't burnout. It's an emotional backpack filled with cargo that belongs to other people. The reason you can't put it down is because you don't know it's there. It's been on your back so long it feels like your body, like gravity, like the baseline weight of being alive. But it's not. Half the exhaustion you carry wasn't generated by your own life. It was transferred to you by a parent, a family system, a role you were given before you could decline it. In this video, we're looking at 10 signs that you're carrying weight that isn't yours. And for each one, we'll name the two truths: what it looks like from the outside, and what it actually is when you look underneath. Because the first step to putting something down is realizing it was never yours to pick up. Number 1. The tiredness doesn't match the output. Truth 1. What it looks like: burnout. You're working too hard, not sleeping enough, running on empty, the standard explanation. And it's partially true, you probably are doing too much. But the exhaustion predates the overwork. It was there before the busy season. It was there on vacation. It's there even when the to-do list is empty. Truth 2, what it actually is: you're carrying emotions that don't belong to you. The exhaustion isn't from what you did today. It's from the emotional processing you're doing for other people without knowing it. Their tension lives in your shoulders. Their sadness settles in your chest. Their unresolved conflict hums in your nervous system. And your body is spending energy processing all of it on top of your own. The tiredness isn't proportional to your life because it's not only your life you're carrying. Number 2. Someone you care about is in a bad mood, and your first thought is, what did I do? Truth 1, what it looks like: empathy. You're attuned to others. You notice when something shifts. You care about the people around you, and their emotional state matters to you. Truth 2, what it actually is: you absorb the role of emotional regulator in your earliest system. In your household, someone's mood was everyone's responsibility. If a parent was upset, the temperature of the entire house changed. And you, the child who noticed first, became the one who managed it. Not because you volunteered, because nobody else was doing it, and the consequences of an unmanaged mood were unbearable. Now, decades later, someone's bad mood still activates the same protocol. Their feeling is my problem, but their feeling was never your problem. The role was assigned, not chosen. And you can test this. Notice what happens in your body the next time someone near you shifts mood. If your system immediately starts scanning, what happened? What did I do? How do I fix this? That's the regulator coming online. Not because you chose to scan, because the scan is automatic, installed in a system where someone's mood was everyone's weather. Number 3, a friend is going through something hard and you feel guilty, not sad for them. Guilty, as if their pain is somehow your fault. Truth 1, what it looks like: deep compassion. You feel what others feel. You take things to heart. You're a caring person. Truth 2, what it actually is: inherited guilt. Somewhere in childhood, someone else's suffering was framed as your responsibility. A parent's unhappiness, a sibling's struggle, the household's dysfunction. The child absorbed the message. When someone near you is in pain, it's because you haven't done enough. And that guilt wasn't generated by anything you did. It was transferred, handed down like furniture you didn't ask for but have been storing ever since. Number 4, your stomach knots over a problem that belongs entirely to someone else. Truth 1, what it looks like, worry. You care about outcomes. You're invested in the people around you. The worry seems proportional to the caring. Truth 2, what it actually is. Someone handed you their anxiety and you accepted it. In the original system, other people's crises became your emergencies. A parent's financial stress became your insomnia. A sibling's problem became your project. The anxiety you carry about their situation isn't a sign of how much you care. It's a sign of how thoroughly the transfer was completed. Their crisis entered your nervous system and never left, and your body can't tell the difference between your own anxiety and anxiety that was deposited by someone else. Number 5, you spend time with someone and leave feeling drained, weighed down, or emotionally thick. Truth 1, what it looks like, introversion. You're drained by social interaction, you need alone time to recharge, it's just your personality. Truth 2, what it actually is. You're absorbing their unprocessed emotions. The heaviness isn't from the socializing, it's from the invisible transfer happening during it. Certain people carry unprocessed pain, frustration, or anxiety, and when they're near you, your system, trained since childhood to pick up what others can't hold, absorbs it automatically. You leave the interaction carrying weight you didn't walk in with, and the heaviness isn't who you are, it's what you collected. And you can tell the difference because the feeling often doesn't match your own experience. You were fine before the interaction. Nothing happened to you during it. But you leave carrying something that feels like sadness or agitation or a low hum of dread that has no story attached. That's the clearest sign. Weight without a narrative. Feelings without a source in your own life. Number 6, someone else says something rude, makes a mistake, or behaves badly, and you're the one saying sorry. Truth 1, what it looks like, peacemaking. You smooth things over. You repair the social fabric. You're the one who holds things together. Truth 2, what it actually is. You took ownership of someone else's failures. In the original system, you were the one who cleaned up the messes that weren't yours. A parent's outburst, a family member's cruelty. Someone else broke it and you apologized. Not because you agreed with their behavior, but because the alternative, letting the mess sit there without someone owning it, felt dangerous. So you claimed it. Every time. And you're still claiming things that don't belong to you. Number 7. Even when everything is done, something hums underneath. Incomplete. Unsettled. Not yet handled. Truth 1. What it looks like, perfectionism. You have high standards. You notice loose ends. You're thorough. Truth 2. What it actually is, the unfinished thing is someone else's responsibility that you've claimed as your own. The humming isn't about your tasks. It's about the obligations you've absorbed from other people. Their unresolved issues, their unmade decisions, their unprocessed feelings that sit in your system as open loops. Your to-do list is empty, but theirs isn't, and your body can't distinguish between the two. The restlessness isn't ambition. It's someone else's incompleteness running on your operating system. Number 8. You've felt older than your peers for as long as you can remember. Truth 1. What it looks like, maturity. You grew up fast. You were the responsible one. People always said you were old for your age, and you wore it as a compliment. Truth 2. What it actually is, you were carrying adult weight as a child. The maturity wasn't a developmental gift. It was a survival response. You were managing emotions, mediating conflicts, reading the room, stabilizing the household, at an age when you should have been building Lego and arguing about what to watch on TV. The weight of adulthood was placed on a child's frame. And the frame adapted, not by getting stronger, but by aging. You feel older because you were never allowed to be young. Not because you grew up fast, because you were never given the childhood that was supposed to come first. And the people who praised your maturity didn't know they were praising a wound. They saw a responsible child. They didn't see a child who was responsible because nobody else in the house was. The old soul wasn't born wise. They were made heavy. And the weight they carried at 8 is still sitting on their frame at 35. Number 9. A friend mentions a problem and your brain immediately starts solving it. Truth 1, what it looks like, helpfulness. You're a problem solver. People come to you because you're good at it. It's a strength. Truth 2, what it actually is. You learn that other people's problems are your responsibility. The solving isn't generosity, it's the backpack loading. Each problem you take on gets added to the weight you're carrying. Not as a task you chose, but as a responsibility your system assumed automatically. And you can't rest because the problems never end. There's always one more person, one more crisis, one more thing you could fix if you just tried a little harder. The exhaustion isn't from helping, it's from the belief that not helping makes you responsible for whatever goes wrong. Number 10. The sign underneath all the others. Someone asks how you are and you draw a blank, not because you have no feelings, but because your emotional system is so full of other people's cargo that you can't locate your own. Truth 1, what it looks like, selflessness. You put others first. You're not focused on yourself. You're generous with your emotional attention. Truth 2, what it actually is, your emotional bandwidth is occupied. Your system has been processing other people's feelings for so long that your own feelings got crowded to the edges. They're there, but they're buried under layers of absorbed guilt, inherited anxiety, and responsibility that was never yours. And the blank you draw when someone asks how you feel isn't emptiness, it's congestion, a backpack so full of other people's weight that there's no room left for your own. And the grief beneath this sign is quiet. You've been so busy carrying everyone else's emotional luggage that you forgot you have your own. And yours has been sitting at the gate unclaimed for years. You've been the airport for everyone else's baggage. The carousel keeps spinning. Other people keep collecting their pieces and walking away lighter. And yours, the bag with your name on it, the one that holds what you actually feel, what you actually need, goes around and around unclaimed because your hands are too full of everyone else's luggage to pick up your own. If you recognize yourself in these 10 signs, here's the reframe that changes everything. You're not broken. You're overloaded, and the load isn't yours. The emotional backpack you've been carrying was packed by a system that needed you to hold things it couldn't. A parent who needed you to manage their mood. A household that needed you to absorb the tension. A family that needed one person to carry the weight so the rest could function. And you did it perfectly for years. But the system that needed you to carry isn't the system you're in now. And the weight that was essential for survival then is optional now. You can start putting things down. Not everything at once, just one thing. The guilt that isn't yours. The anxiety that was deposited. The responsibility that was assigned, not chosen. Start by asking each time you feel heavy, is this mine? That question, simple, quiet, repeated, is how you begin to unpack. Not by becoming cold, not by stopping care, but by learning to feel the difference between weight that belongs to you and weight that was placed on you. Your feelings will feel different from absorbed feelings. Your responsibilities will feel different from assigned ones. And the moment you can tell them apart, the backpack starts getting lighter. Not because you stopped caring, because you started sorting. At Inner Lens, we help you sort the weight nobody told you wasn't yours. If this one resonated, the next video follows a thread from the same territory, the subtle signs you're stuck in survival mode. It's right here.